Christmas, 1914. World War I is currently being fought. Despite the tragedy of the war, this day is often celebrated as a symbolic moment of peace. On this day, in the northern parts of France, two sides, the Germans and the English, met each other in no man's land and just played football. Both sides were exhausted of the war and decided that, since it was Christmas, they wouldn't fight, and instead they'd play football, talk, and enjoy not having to fight. When I first read this story, I found it fascinating that just a ball and two goals could have the power to connect so many people. Ever since I could talk, I've always had a passion for football. Literally, my first word was ball. As I grew older, I started playing more and more football, at home, at school, and with friends. Even though it was about 8 years ago, I vividly remember the day I came home from school and told my mom what position I was going to play. "I'm going to play as a goalkeeper," I told my mom happily, and when she asked why, I proudly answered, "You don't have to run." Football has always been a great way for people to connect. For me, moving to Bali in 2018, I was able to make friends here through football. When I was 10, I joined a football club called Spanish Soccer Schools. It was, and still is, one of the best football development clubs in Dubai. And while I was there, I was able to learn a lot from dedication to how to improve my skills as a goalkeeper. I started going on football trips outside of Dubai and even took part in international tournaments. Even though my team didn't actually win any tournaments, I greatly enjoyed these trips and had lots of fun. These trips had a lasting impact on my memory, and when I was thinking about what to do for Quest, I remembered what a great experience I had on each of these trips. I remembered how many new people I was able to meet and befriend. So, at the beginning of Quest, I set out to host a football tournament as a fundraiser to grow a football field at a local school. What I didn't realize was how much effort it would take to organize an event like that. I thought I was doing well until I realized the football tournament was only 1 week away. I hadn't gotten any people to sign up yet, and I hadn't started advertising my event. As I look back on the past few weeks, I realized I'd spent way too much time on my phone and computer playing video games and had neglected my Quest work. I decided to use this mistake to my advantage and hosted a workshop doing sustainable solutions where I taught people about how technology can help us, but if used wrongly, they can be quite bad for us. I included football in the workshop to make the workshop fun and show people that they can connect in other ways that don't involve technology. Everyone who attended the workshop was hopefully able to realize something about the effect of screen time on their lives and how much better it can be to spend time outside interacting with friends instead of playing video games inside alone. Technology runs our lives these days. Phones, computers, and tablets, we really can't seem to function without them. Over a short amount of time, technology has exploded all over the market, and now many people can't imagine a life without it. Technology has helped us a lot over the past few years. It's helped us with work, it's made many things faster and more convenient for us, and it has helped us with communication. We're now able to communicate with people from all over the world as if we were right next to them. But sadly, technology is now becoming really distracting for some people and is causing real problems. According to a study done by the Henry J. Kaiser Family Foundation in 2010, the average adult spends about 23.6 hours on technology every week. And that was in 2010. Now that number has jumped to a staggering 35 hours spent on technology every week. That means that on average, people spend about 75 days on technology every year. That's more than 2 months spent looking at a screen. I was able to get a first-hand experience on how technology can be really distracting and can make you forget about the important things that you need to do. So, why are so many people now at the mercy of their phones and computers? Dopamine, a chemical produced by our brains that plays a vital role in motivating behavior. It gets released when we take a bite of delicious food, after we exercise, when we have sex, not that I would know, and importantly, when we have successful social or online interactions. Basically, it rewards us for beneficial behaviors and motivates us to repeat them. In an online context, it gets released every time we get a message from a loved one, every time we get a like on Instagram, or every time a new interesting news article is released. Since dopamine makes us feel pleasure, we keep checking our phones, hoping to see something new that'll get our brains to release dopamine. The release of dopamine is even linked with drug use. Studies show that when people use drugs such as nicotine and heroin, a powerful surge of dopamine is released into their bodies, which makes people addicted to certain drugs, and in this case causes phone addiction, which can severely damage relationships between people. Various sources give differing information, but one thing is clear: technology usage is rising at an alarming rate. On another note, while I was visiting Dubai over the spring break, I couldn't wait to visit my friends, but really didn't want to spend my time with them indoors staring at a TV. I also started realizing really how much trash there was everywhere, on the sides of roads, in the ocean, and in the desert, where I'd created some of the best memories of my life. I found this really sad since Dubai is purportedly one of the cleanest cities in the world, and littering is illegal. So I decided to contribute to solving two problems at the same time. I hosted a desert cleanup to clean up the desert, and to get my friends to come to a social event without needing to use technology. And surprisingly, it worked really well. We collected 9 bags of trash that were each filled with around 4 to 5 kilograms of garbage. And it was actually quite fun. I got to spend time with friends I hadn't met in around 3 months, and afterwards we had a picnic in the desert and played some football. It was a really memorable experience, and we got to leave the desert better than we found it. Due to this fun and impactful experience, I decided to incorporate cleanups into my quest project. When arriving in Bali, I recalled there's so much more trash here than in Dubai, and pollution is a much bigger problem here than in other places around the world. These cleanups weren't as big, but we were still able to collect 8 bags of trash filled with mostly plastic that all weighed around 3 to 4 kilograms. Altogether, including the Dubai cleanups, we collected 70 kilograms of trash that we then sorted out in the Kembali. 70 kilos, that weighs even more than me. This project has allowed me to grow and learn some valuable life lessons. I learned that it's important to realize what you can and cannot do, make realistic decisions, and adapt to the situation to get the best possible outcome. Additionally, I started to really value time with friends that I spent with friends a lot more. Life is short, and if we spend countless hours sending random pictures on Snapchat, watching fake YouTube videos, and playing bad video games, then life can pass us by quicker than a football hitting the back of the net. Thank you.